Hello, everybody. You are here with the Chocolate Bros. I'm Adam,
I'm Brian.
and we are here to do another chocolate review.
Yet again.
Before, who's doing
You're doing the intro, and I was just interjecting.
That's cool. You're over here. You're doing the color commentary over there. Nice.
Boom.
Yeah. Check us out. We own a chocolate company, www.fortuneoutchocolate.com. We've been in the chocolate business for 16 years. And we got the crazy idea that we would like to start reviewing just about every chocolate bar we can get our hands on. We're going to try to do this 5 days a week. So if you enjoy the idea of learning about all of the different chocolate products that are out there, based on a couple of industry professionals' opinions, go ahead and subscribe. And if you want to see if our chocolate is good enough to substantiate us being the ones who are reviewing other people, I'd challenge you to put us to the test. Brian?
And boom goes the dynamite.
Thank you. Thank you, bro. Appreciate it.
Yes.
Anything you want to add to that?
No, thank you very much to everybody who's watching, listening. Smash that like button, hit the star, hit the thumbs up, whatever it is that you can do to register that you're liking it. We really appreciate it if you do that. And let's help you everybody get a good take on some chocolates.
And one last thing I will say, Brian has acted as a judge at International. What's the name of the
International Chocolate Awards. I'm a 2-time judge at the ICAs, or International Chocolate Awards South American round. And I've had the opportunity to taste chocolate of every type and description from all over the world, from Asia to South America to Europe to African chocolate, etc. But I'm also not a fancy a super foodie guy or a fancy chocolate eater. I just like stuff that tastes good. And what we're going to do today is give an honest review of a product. It's a competitor of ours, but we consider ourselves to be in competition with, not against, any other chocolate company. There's room for everybody's taste. So this is an honest take. We're not out here trying to slam anything. We're not out here trying to kiss anybody's behind. What we're trying to do is give an honest take from two people who are playing it straight. So that's where we're at.
So the bar we're going to be reviewing today is this bar. It's Who. I believe it's pronounced Who. Is that how you would pronounce that?
I've seen them. I know that they're kind of coming up in the industry, but I don't know how to pronounce it.
Okay, so this is I think what I would call their flagship 70% dark chocolate. I bought it because it was in 3 different stores that I went to, and so finally I said these guys are well distributed. Maybe other people are seeing this bar out there, and this would be a good company for us to review. Right off the top, I just got to point something out, and I don't say this to be snarky, but it may come off snarky.
If it's 10% snarky, that's allowable. So snark on. Bro.
I don't want to be too snarky, but I got to point this out because my brother Brian here lived in the jungle of northern Peru for 10 years. We know everything that there is about taking cacao off of a tree, running it through the entire supply chain, and turning it into a chocolate end product. And also, I do all of the marketing for our company. So I'm very sensitive to certain types of marketing messages. I don't know if you can see this. You probably can't, so I'm going to read it to you. On the back of their chocolate bag here, they say, "It's time to get back to the way humans ate before industry ruined food." I don't like that kind of statement.
Well,
Brian?
Okay, let's just talk about that. This chocolate was made in a factory with industrial equipment,
and it's in every grocery store.
It's in every grocery store. And it costs $5.99 for a 2-ounce bar.
And it's manufactured in Italy. It says.
Yeah, with a Texas wrap. This is an industrial product. As all chocolate, nobody's making chocolate with a mortar and pestle. That's available at a grocery store. So to say that industry ruined food, I understand what they're trying to say, but they're over broadly representing the lack of industrial equipment in their process.
And not just industrial equipment. I just have become somewhat sensitive to the notion that industrial, quote unquote, industrial food is bad per se. There's certain ingredients that do damage to the environment.
Yes.
And there's others that are better for the environment and more sustainable. There's certain ingredients that taste really good and others that taste poor. For example, cacao that has been bred for disease resistance and high yield tends to do that at the cost of flavor, and it tends to do that at the cost of being
healthy soils.
Healthy soil. All right. On the other hand, it is the reason chocolate's available all over the world, everywhere you go. So there's like a balance between calories and price and all this kind of stuff that industry has helped. And so I'm just a little sensitive to the idea that all industry has ruined food.
They're trying to make a point here that this is a simple product that's non-industrial. It's cringy, it's an eye roller, it's an industrial product. You can't have a bar in Target for 2 ounces for $5.99 and also be at QFC and also be at PCC.
Without there being industrial application.
It's made in a factory. You just can't get these kind of, also they don't point out the source of their cacao. So, I mean, this is an
So-
industrial product. It
so-
might be a really good industrial product. I hope it is because I'm anxious to taste it. But it's an over-the-top bit of marketing dross that in my mind is an eye roller.
It's a little bit too much of an eye roll. All right,
Yeah.
now let's get into the packaging. Now, all that being said, Brian and I both agree we love the packaging.
Yeah, it's very low material. This is a super thin but really tough
Yep.
paper, easy to open. Inside, it's got this great like protective, and this is a compostable, easy to open, foil lined, compostable under the right conditions. They've really done their work in terms of minimizing the materials footprint of their packaging, and I salute them.
Salute them.
Yes.
And then setting aside the environmental part of it, I love these envelopes.
Yes.
I love these envelopes for chocolate because it's so easy to eat
This
a
is
piece.
easy to put something back into.
This whole thing is good.
Yeah.
I really tip of the cap, not top of the cap.
No, tip of the cap.
Top of the cap to you.
That's right.
Okay, so that being said, we like all that. I'm going to read the ingredients. It is organic cacao, organic refined coconut sugar, and organic cocoa butter.
I think you meant to say unrefined coconut
Organic
sugar.
unrefined, pardon me, organic unrefined coconut sugar. So simple ingredients. I will say off the top, in order to pull off a really good chocolate with simple ingredients like this, you're gonna need good cacao.
You gotta have good cacao and a good ferment. Our flagship 68% dark is the exact same set of ingredients. Cacao. We do use cane sugar
Instead
now,
of coconut sugar.
What they mean by unrefined is that the coconut sugar is a little bit of a different animal. What they're in sugar, in cane sugar terms, that would mean that you'd be getting what we call turbinado or raw sugar, which is sugar that hasn't been had all the molasses washed out of it. So this is, I mean, again, you don't get massive amounts of coconut sugar without machinery to process coconuts and turn it into sugar. Unrefined means that you haven't taken one last step in the process to give it a certain texture that people might want in a grocery store or something. But it is absolutely processed.
It has to be processed.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a fairly thick bar. I think you can see that it's on the thicker end. Very simple mold. Just a bunch of these squares, and it says HU for hue or human on it. And the smell.
Oh, so human. HU means it's short.
I believe it's human.
So,
yeah.
and let me just say one last thing about the ingredients. When I see coconut sugar as an ingredient, coconut sugar already has a very distinctive and strong flavor
Yes.
of its own.
That's right.
So I'll be interested to see how the flavor notes of the coconut sugar blend with the cacao, or are we just eating something that tastes like coconut sugar?
Right off the bat, I'm expecting, and okay, first off, I already smelled it. I can smell the coconut.
Let me smell it.
I'm expecting this to be a product that has a coconutty flavor, and that the best you can hope for here is that they have made the coconut flavor work harmoniously with the cacao. It doesn't mean it's going to be bad chocolate, but it won't be. The thing about cane sugar is that it sweetens without imparting any particular taste. And that's why they used refined cane sugar, because you've taken out the molasses, which has flavor. And what you want is the flavor of the cacao to shine through. So when you're using coconut sugar, what you hope is that you get a harmonious blend of the coconut flavor and the cacao flavor. You're not going to be able to not have coconut flavor.
All right. So all that being said, Brian, you want to run us through your smelling?
I'm just going to smell it. Really, it smells good.
It smells good. It smells like cacao, but the end of the aroma is where the coconut comes in. I smell it.
All right. I'm just going to condition my tongue.
All right, Brian, who's going to set it off? They've been watching us for some time now.
All right. I'll start.
Okay, go ahead, Brian.
The coconut sugar gives it a different texture. It's not as refined down to like 20 microns as some, and it doesn't have the same snap or mouthfeel as chocolate made with regular sugar. The coconut sugar, I don't know if it's part of how they want it to be texture-wise, or it's a necessity of using the coconut sugar. It feels different. It melts different. I don't pick up a lot of coconut. My first overall impression is that's good chocolate.
It's good.
I like the roast. I think they went with a darker roast to maybe overcome the flavor of the coconut getting too much into the chocolate. I have nothing bad to say about the flavor of that on my tongue.
And the cacao?
The cacao, there's no off notes or aromas. The cacao seems to be well fermented. They went with a darker roast. The roast is a little darker than I typically like. And so what's happening now as I get the tail of the flavor is that what happens with a dark roast? It's the same thing that happens with a French roast coffee. The flavor really lingers and it ends with a bitterness. There's a certain bitterness that ends on the tail of a dark roast, and I'm getting that. But as it melts on my tongue, I do pick up just a little bit of coconut, but it is harmoniously blended with the cacao. The cacao doesn't have any like major notes, but it seems to be well fermented and well processed.
Yeah, and I just would point out here too, also it says on the back that this is certified paleo. So
From the Paleo Certification Organization, the old PCO.
that exists now. Of course, back in the Paleolithic days, people were eating chocolate bars all the time.
And they were extremely bureaucratic.
Yeah, and, but I want to say that I would imagine that's why they're using the coconut sugar to give you something that can still fit in with a paleo.
I believe it has a very low glycemic load.
Or keto diet.
Yeah.
So, to me, we talked about this on a previous review just a couple days ago, where we tasted a milk chocolate bar, and we concluded that we weren't really judging it as chocolate. We were judging it as candy.
Right.
And for me, so there's a certain genius in using coconut sugar, because for me, the cacao that they have chosen to use here, to my taste buds, is essentially
It's a very one note.
It has it has very little character.
That's right.
Right. So really, the star of this show is the blend of a sort of almost imperceptible cacao with coconut sugar, which is quite a delicious combination. I like this a lot. Yeah, and because I think that whatever cacao they're using, and you mentioned the roast, the cacao that they're using and the sort of dark roast that they've used, combined with the coconut sugar, is a pretty solid combination. With the caveat that this is not gonna. I doubt this is gonna win a chocolate award. Right, I doubt if you put this bar up at the International Chocolate Awards that it would get a gold medal because it doesn't have a traditional chocolate flavor. Right. So I think in some ways we're judging almost its own category of product, which is chocolate made with coconut sugar.
Vegan paleo kind of chocolate that is made to exemplify an ethic. But I 100% agree with you. This is a chocolate that is made not to be the best representation of cacao that it can be, but it represents an ethic and it scratches a chocolate itch and fulfills a certain ethic. Now, you can look at this. It's a little bit of an eye roller. It's over the top, certified paleo, certified keto. I don't know who certifies that.
And by the way, that's just our own opinion because we're just sort of like middle class guys.
But having said that, what's important about chocolate isn't. It's got to be what it tastes like in your mouth. And this smells good. It tastes good. The texture is different, but not bad. It's a good bar. I don't love the tail.
Well, and let me say something.
I don't love the end of it.
The more I eat of this, though, what I'm seeing for a 70% dark chocolate, it's sweet.
Sweeter than I thought it would be, because I think the coconut sugar must be sweeter than cane sugar.
And so this might be, this could play either way, but the more that I eat, and I've only eaten half of a square, but the more that I eat, the more the coconut sugar becomes a little cloying.
I agree with you. I was just thinking.
It becomes a little cloying, like it gets.
How is it so sweet for 70%? You're right. I was noticing
it's because coconut sugar is sweeter the same way stevia is sugar.
Yes.
It's sweeter than regular cane sugar. So the other thing I would just say here is, as you eat more of this dark chocolate, what a lot of people like about dark chocolate is some of the bitterness of it.
Yeah.
They don't want to be like blown out with sweetness. On the other hand, for me, I probably only would eat one square because I can already feel it's starting to get treacle.
I agree with that.
I'm getting my palate's getting a little blown out with sweetness.
I agree with that.
So that could work in your favor too because it keeps your calories down.
Well, this is one of those that, like I say, I like the aroma. I really liked it on first bite, but what's staying in my mouth
is coconut.
Well, coconut and the bitterness caused by the roast, which I not really love. Like there's bitterness you love. The bitterness of this is it's not. I don't hate it, but I don't love it. I think this is a chocolate that is. It appeals to someone who's got a set of ethics, and there's nothing wrong with that because we all have our set of ethics.
And it does taste good.
It does. It's well made.
It does. It's well made. It tastes good. But it's now the more I eat it, I just ate a whole square. To me, it's more coconut sugar than anything else. To me, that is the predominant flavor of this bar, is the coconut sugar.
I feel like if this was maybe a 74%, and if it was roasted for about 3 or 4 minutes less, they'd have a bar that would be this is this was like a solid knockout to the outfield fence that you thought was going to be a stand-up triple, and now I'm kind of rounding it down to a double. But I think they could have a home run if they changed their recipe just a little bit.
I might even go up to an 80%. Like you said, the roast could be worked on. The only thing is, as it stands right now, what's really I'm putting on my business owner's hat as a manufacturer.
Yeah.
What's really good about it though is you could almost use any certified organic cacao on this.
And by the way,
because it gives way to the strength of the coconut sugar.
Yeah.
And so if you get up to 80% or if you get up to 85%, then the quality of the cacao might become much more important. So actually, I think it's probably pretty smart and pretty shrewd the way that they've made this bar.
It's very clear that they're aiming at a market who is interested more in the ethics of the chocolate at some level than the average consumer, and maybe even more than the taste of the chocolate. I think for what they're trying to do, it's a rousing success.
I think so. Yeah, it's good. And if you're trying to control your glycemic load and you're looking for something that's paleo and vegan,
if your ethics include fair trade, organic, vegan, and paleo, I don't think you're going to find.
You're not going to find better than this. This is good. Actually, so if this is what you're into, this is a good product. It's expensive. So just to just to compare it, our dark chocolate sells for somewhere between like $25 and $32 a pound. At the grocery store, this is over $40 a pound.
Yeah.
So it's also expensive, but for what it is, I would say it's quite a strong, really good product.
And the idea is that you're paying for your ethics.
Yep.
I don't know. I have no way of knowing. They don't call out where the cacao comes from. I have no way if the consumer who's paying for their ethics is actually contributing to a better livelihood of coconut and cacao farmers, because they don't really talk about that. As much as they're talking about the ethics, I have to hope that they are getting some additional revenue back to their farmers. But overall, just talking about the chocolate, I would recommend it to someone whose ethical concerns were on a par with their flavor.
Yeah, and it's fair trade cacao, so they're doing that at the very least. So, all right, I mean, if you come across this and you want to see what we're talking about, and this is owned.
It's got me interested in trying another Who product.
Yeah, it does, and this is owned by siblings Jordan and Jessica. Sibling co-founders. From siblings to siblings, from the chocolate bros to you.
That's right.
This is a good product.
Yeah.
Well done, Who. All right, Brian, anything you want to say?
Well done, Who.
Well done, Who.
Well done, you two Who Muns.
Yeah, there's a lot of wordplay possibilities
the
there.
banter's
Yeah,
really strong.
Anything you want to say before we sign off?
I just want to thank everybody for watching, listening, however you're accessing this. And if you care to try some Who against our Fortunato number 4, you can get our stuff at www.fortunatochocolate.com. We also have a retail store in Issaquah, Washington, if you find yourself in the Seattle area. I'm Brian.
Adam.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.